Okay, we should be live now and we should have working microphone audio. Please let me know in the comment section if you can hear me. That would be great if you can, because this would be the first episode that you can hear me right from the get-go, which would be fantastic. Real progress for this YouTube channel, Cineworld Moon or Bust. Thanks all of you guys for joining, and it's been quite a day. The markets took a bit of a tumble this morning, I think, on the announcement of the Fed were going to announce something about how much inflation is, and inflation was less than what they expected. I've been doing stocks and shares for about 8 years now, and I've learned to sort of tune these sort of days out. I find that you can get, most of the time it's not like this, so most of the time you get these sort of booms in the morning and then a dip. By the end of the day you've lost all the gains. Today is a weird reverse of that, where we saw I opened my portfolio up this morning and it was significantly down, and then by the end of today I was more than significantly up. I was up more than the day before, but I try not to focus too much on day-to-day fluctuations. So right, today I'm going to be having a Suntory whiskey, Japanese again. It's my favourite, and I've got to start getting through some of these bottles. I've got a lot of whiskey bottles on my shelf, but I'm not going to be drinking through the episode because I know some people don't like that. So this is one sip now, and then I'll try not to drink during the half an hour that I'm talking. Right, new subscriber, woo! Thanks for joining us. Got a few new subscribers today, which is great. All of you guys, grab a whiskey too. I hope you're ready for this week's episode. Today I'm going to be reading about an article someone posted that sort of around this an article someone posted on the chat explains the rapid decline. So that made my heart skip a beat when I read it. Immediately went to look at my stocks and shares, and surprise, surprise, in my mind, we're still 200% up from our all-time lows. So I went to look at the shares today, and I was a bit disappointed that we were quite down today, and then by the end of today we'd already gone back up to 5. And so I was like, well, what did this person find out? What was the information in this article? And I figured, let's go for it together, because this sort of explains all my frustrations with modern German journalism today. So it's this CoStar article, Cineworld to cut more US theatres. Actually, the article that bothered me was a Bloomberg article. I don't think it was a CoStar article, but Cineworld to cut more US theatres as ticket sales slump. Attendance seen dropping 20% from pre-pandemic levels. CoStar haven't bothered me, actually. They've been really useful. They've given me lots of information that I was then able to go to the bankruptcy filing page and check was legitimate, and on Cineworld's investor relations page. And this article doesn't infantilize anything. This is factual. Cineworld is to cut more US theatres as ticket sales slump, but well, I don't necessarily believe ticket sales are slumping. We have less movies in the theatre right now. I mean, we expected a slump after the peak of The Rock's movie. You know, it's not going to be making as much on the second weekend as it was the opening weekend, but I'd hardly call that a slump. We've got Black Panther 2 on its way. And so, let's read. Oh, we can't read. Paywall blocked. Okay. So, sorry about that. Reddit wants to send me notifications. I'm going to block that. Sorry, Reddit. We're on the Cineworld stock page. Let's see. I was talking to someone earlier today who was saying that the Girdingers have lost all equity due to the bankruptcy filing, and if anyone has information on that, I couldn't find anywhere that the Girdingers have lost all equity after doing this Chapter 11 filing. That may well happen, but it doesn't seem to have happened yet. And the DIP financing that they've currently received doesn't seem to be contingent on them losing all their equity. So I don't understand where that fact came from. That was the fact that was within the Bloomberg article that I saw today, and I read through it, and that was in there, but it didn't say where it got that information from. And it certainly wasn't when after the bank Cineworld went into Chapter 11 filing, they issued a press release, and in nowhere did it say that they would be losing equity, and also it stated that the Dingers would be remaining in control of the company. So I don't see that anywhere. I think that's a little bit of fear-mongering. There's certainly a lot of that going around on this stock, but we're still riding the high of the positive news last week, and we are still almost double from where we were, the all-time low that we were at previously. I think we are double from the all-time low, and that is all because Cineworld is looking like it might come out of bankruptcy, or shareholders will come out of this with equity. And so, I still think we're at the positive place when we were almost at 8p last time. The news was just as good. It's just the share price isn't at this month's peak at the minute, which we wouldn't expect it to be. So, right. Yes, so we can see today we're at 5.24, and the peak the other day was 7 this week. Where do I think it will go in the next month? I am so... Oh god, I don't like doing those sort of price predictions. I want to talk about... So I got into a little bit of a... Oh god, logging in this different account. It's very annoying that Reddit is forcing me to log in. Please leave your comments in the comment section, by the way, guys. I love reading them. And just going to go to the Cineworld stock page. So had someone asking... Basically, someone questioned the fact that, commented also that Mookie and Co. now hold nothing as Chapter 11 wipes out their 20% stake. Creditors own Cineworld. I've said before, they may encourage Mookie to stay on and give him performance shares if they see his game plan. Now, creditors are in control of Cineworld at the minute, but at the minute there is nothing changed about Cineworld's fundamental shareholder equity plan that I know of. And I would love to see anywhere that where this is changed, but we are just as accountable as the Gerdingers. Even though the Gerdingers are on the board, as shareholders we are just as accountable for the running of the business. So it's not fair that they should be punished and we shouldn't. And I just think it would be irresponsible to take all their shares off them and then leave them in control of the company. But maybe this person knows more than I do. I'm obviously, as I've said before, I'm no expert on Chapter 11 filings, but then when I questioned them on it, when I asked for more information, they just sent me a bunch of sort of Wikipedia links and Investopedia links that explained Chapter 11 filings. They didn't actually show where it said that the Gerdingers have had their equity taken away and us retail investors have retained all of our equity. I don't know where they're getting at. Cool. So that is that bit of information from this week. So I've got other people going, Cineworld 50% down from 7p, but most of us are looking at this as, a lot of us are looking at this 200% up from 2p, and also we are kind of looking at it as 90% down from £3. So there's many different ways of looking at this. If you try and base your emotions on the prices day to day, you're going to be it's going to be a real heavy anxiety ride going through the week, because this is one hell of a volatile stock. I really wouldn't recommend purchasing any Cineworld if you're going to be upset by a 50% decline in one day, because that can really happen. And also you can get 300% in one day, but some people find that just as stressful, because then they feel as though they should have bought the day before or something like that, and then they end up buying a load when it's 300% up. Then that inevitably tumbles down 50% because of just how volatile this stock is. So yeah, if you can't handle a volatile stock, you should just be in the S&P 500, or you shouldn't be in stocks and shares at all, because even the S&P 500 is quite volatile. Major news, if true, some good aspects. Bloomberg article without the paywall. We got the Bloomberg article without the paywall. So this is the one that kind of really annoyed me, because Bloomberg have quite a reputation as being like this sort of established news agency. But if we go into the opening of this article, the Cineworld story begins with eggs, not movies. Israel's Gerdinger, the Deputy Chief Executive Officer of Cineworld PSC, wrote in a heartfelt Chapter 11 filing by the world's second largest theatre chain in September. He describes how his great-grandfather, Kalman, sent his grandfather, Moshe, to England from Romania, and in the late 1800s to help expand the Gerdinger egg import business, and how 3 decades later Moshe delivered it. Blah, 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 blah. It's so boring, but I don't know why these articles feel the need to explain some trivial fact before giving you the information. A century later, Israel's and his brother Mookie, Cineworld CEO, have moved a London-based company into bankruptcy. And so, yes, once again, we know that. The latest blow to a family fortune worth about $1 billion at its peak. Creditors are forcing the Gerdingers. So look, all of this is just... These are facts, for sure, but none of this is new information. And so far... Oh god, this is so annoying, all the adverts on this site. It's really pissing me off. I can't even read the article because of these fucking ads by Google. A costly pandemic expansion helped land Cineworld in bankruptcy. Now streaming a dearth of blockbusters may seal its fate. So, yeah, Cineworld's share price, they point to that. The Cineworld CEO said at the time, a difficult moment for him and a criminal the criminal conviction thing. I think that ended up in just being a fine. I certainly don't think Mookie is currently in prison or anything like that. But yes, that was unfortunate as well. In recent bankruptcy filings, the Gerdingers became Hollywood's shift to streaming and COVID-19 for felling Cineworld, which controls more than... Again, these are all facts, but it's just everything that we already know. It doesn't prevent it in a new or interesting way. It's just pure clickbait. This person is just out to have to write something, and then it was somewhere in this article that they claimed that the Gerdingers had been completely wiped out, and just no source. There's absolutely no indication as to where that information came from, which I'd really appreciate to know. Where did that come from? So that the Gerdingers had been... Sorry, just checking that the stream was working. So yeah, I just think that there's more fear-mongering coming out. I'm wondering if more big investors are trying to get into the stock at this point. I posted my theory on Reddit as to what I think is going on. We've got Cineworld dropping all these lease agreements. So they went on an aggressive acquisition spree, purchasing Regal back in 2018. And with Regal came a lot of great cinemas, but also a lot of really bad ones. So you can imagine how many theatres they had across the country, and some of these theatres are in shopping malls and stuff like that that are getting no more visitors currently. So what Cineworld couldn't do at the beginning is they couldn't immediately identify which screens were profitable and which weren't. And for cinema especially, it takes around 2 years to know which are the screens that make revenue and which aren't, because they have a period of the year which they make a lot of money, and then they have periods of the year where they make very little money due to the fact that there are less blockbusters around. So that's why they have to have some cash in the bank to be able to cover themselves for those months, and that's what it's been very hard to do from lockdown. Now, this bankruptcy filing enables the Gerdingers to cancel a lot of those leases, then are not profitable quite easily. And that's what we're seeing. All of these cancellations, all of these cancelling lease agreements are happening in America with Regal. And that's why I think this is potentially just a really genius idea. Cineworld always had to battle with this Cineplex lawsuit, and they also always had to battle with the fact that they needed people to come back to the cinema to watch these big blockbuster films. They always needed to generate revenue in order to pay for debt, but by going bankrupt, they are able to drop lease agreements much more easily and prevent any lawsuit from Cineplex from going forward temporarily until after they've made more money back from Avatar 2, potentially forcing Cineplex into a point where they have to settle in order to get any money at all. So this is why I'm not saying that this is definitely their strategy. I don't know if they are that smart. That's the thing. I don't know if anyone is that smart to play it like this. It seems like an incredibly risky game to play with your fortune if they have done this, but at the same time, it does all seem to be playing in their favour. However, if someone can show to me that the Gerdingers no longer own their 20% stake in the cinema chain, that would really impact whether I continue to remain a shareholder even, because that's such an important thing for me, that the Gerdingers, we're there with them, that I really wouldn't like to see that they had been removed from the equation. So yeah, if anyone's got any solid evidence that that's happened, I've not seen it, please share it and I'll put it into this live stream and make an episode about it and what my thoughts are after seeing that information. Okay guys, I think that's everything that I wanted to talk about this week. The dropping of lease agreements is certainly exciting, but I don't have any information on how much those lease agreements cost, and I don't have any information on how much revenue they generated, so I can't work out how much revenue they would need to hit in order to pay down its debt and generate profit and get themselves out of Chapter 11 bankruptcy. In the meantime, all we can really do is just continue watching for information coming out from their bankruptcy filings like we did last week, but certainly no information has come out this week. The only reason I can see for the movement in the share price today was to do with the Fed's announcement on what inflation is, and that's going to be an indication of where the interest rates are, but that doesn't directly impact Cineworld in any way. It just causes the stock market to jump up and down in random volatile directions. One thing I am going to check is, let's take a look at the blockbuster releases, because some people are saying that they're slowing down, which obviously they are, because nothing's been released this week, so all blockbusters release whenever there's nothing released, you're expecting a slowdown. So let's go to Box Office Mojo, and see what the numbers are on Black Adam and stuff like that. Black Adam, Ticket to Paradise, all doing quite nicely. Latest dailies, it's made 2 million worldwide daily. Black Adam, it's made 18 million last weekend. That's certainly not very much of a slowdown. It was making 60 million its opening weekend, and yeah, so 18 million is still great. That's still holding quite nicely. Let's just take a look at the overall gross domestic box office for it. It's made 325 million worldwide. That's pretty awesome, especially as it only came out a month ago. There's this film that I think is popular in Asia. It's called One Piece Film Red, and that has made 142 million worldwide, so the combined impact of both of them is around 500 million worldwide. And then we've got Ticket to Paradise, which is another 140 million worldwide. And let's just have another look at Smile. I know that one did really well, 200 million worldwide. Remember that we need around, this is from their month-by-month releases in their initial debtor in possession release document, that we need around, I estimate, 400 million before they dropped capital leases, so they potentially need less revenue now. But yeah, around 400 million, and I certainly can see how they'd be getting 400 million per month from these films, given that the first 4 films combined easily total to above that. And wow, 20 million from Pray for the Devil. Don't know what that is. But yes, so yeah. We're seeing good box office numbers. We're not seeing spectacular box office numbers, but we have only just got one big film coming out at the minute, and then the big films that I'm expecting to see, obviously Black Panther 2, but also December, I'm really excited for quite a few films that are coming out. Glass Onion 2, I think is really exciting because it's a Netflix film that is being released in cinema, then going into Netflix. So yeah, I'm really pumped for that. And also, I wonder if Netflix will try to really hype that film up. I'm certainly seeing great trailers for it, but I hope that they actually do this sort of marketing push for that film before it goes into cinemas. And then also we've got Avatar 2. So I think that is probably going to make, in its opening weekend, my prediction is probably around, I don't know, 300 million. It'll probably, and so, yeah, that one is going to be what we're waiting for. So still, we're going to be doing the live stream every week. I just enjoy talking to you guys and venting off some of my frustrations with things that I'm reading because there's just so much negativity out there. But it's going to be just a slug, I think, until December. But potentially we'll know everything we need to by the time Black Panther 2 comes out. Hope so, that'd be great. And excited to talk to you more as time next week. Thanks so much.